Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Career Spotlight. You are here on TV3 Bangla, and we've got another guest here for you. Today, we've got Shahzad Younas with us. Many of you will know him as the founder of Muzmatch. Today, he will be sharing his journey and tips for people that are interested in the app world, and also sharing of something about his career in investment banking before he joined the world of apps. Hi, Shahzad. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Good. Thank you for joining us today. I'd like to, I know we're going to talk about Muzmatch, but before we go into Muzmatch, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your journey and your career choices, because I know that you had a career in investment banking before you joined the app world. So could you tell us a little bit more about that, and then we'll move on? Yeah,
my journey is actually quite varied and had a lot of tangents along the way. So by way of background, I'm a Mancunian, so from Manchester, and I actually did computer science as my degree. So I graduated in 2005, and I remember when I went to university on at least picking my degree, it was just before the kind of .com time. So tech was really hot. Tech was the place to be. And then I did my degree, and I remember doing a technology internship. And it's just so many things happened by chance. So I remember I applied to Morgan Stanley, which is the investment bank that I ended up working at. But I had no idea about banking. I had no idea what investment banking was. I literally, and I still remember, in the computer science building at Manchester University where I went, there was a poster that said technology internships, and it said Morgan Stanley, and it had the date. And literally the date I applied was the last day of applications. Yeah. So I just thought, why not? I have no idea what this company is, but I'm just going to apply. So I just applied for a technology internship, and then, alhamdulillah, long story short, got an internship there at Morgan Stanley in technology. So it was over the summer. I think it was summer. I'm forgetting the year. Something like summer 2004, I think it would have been, something like that. Anyway, did the internship, but then I realized actually technology wasn't where I wanted it to be. It was, especially at the bank, technology was. It wasn't where the action was, basically. Mm-hmm. It didn't really appeal to me as a career, and I thought, this is not for me. So I remember just wandering around the bank, and I was walking up and down the floors. I was walking on the various floors, just seeing what everyone does. And then I just so happened to end up on the trading floor, which is, where all the action is. People are buying shares, there's a lot of noise, it's all that kind of stuff. And I thought, this is where I want to be. It's right at the front, right where the action was. So literally by then I thought, okay, I want to get this kind of job. So I remember got back home and I was in my last year of university, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try and get an internship, but in the finance division, in the equities division, and in the trading side of things. So I remember I just sat there and I learned everything I could about trading. I learned everything about finance, economics, the whole thing. I was reading the business section every day for about 3 months, just so I could talk. And then, alhamdulillah, by some miracle, I applied for an equities internship and managed to get it, which is quite rare considering at least Morgan Stanley didn't really go to places like Manchester University, or didn't really pick candidates from there for finance jobs. Mm-hmm. So I was very fortunate there. Anyway, did the internship. And then even then, it's kind of really strange how things happen. So I remember there was, times were a bit different back then, but there was 10 of us in our internship class. And Morgan Stanley had just changed their whole model. So it used to be that, you have 10 people in an internship, and then by the end of it, if you're good, the bank will hire you, and then they'll figure out where to put you, right? Whereas the year that I was doing it was the one year they changed it and said, no, now you need an actual desk to choose to decide to hire you. So it wasn't just the bank. So I remember there was a couple of us going for a particular job on this particular desk, and I really wanted to get on this desk. And in the end, they went with someone else. So, Morgan Stanley were like, thank you, it's been great. Wish you all the best, no job. And I was like, I'm not accepting this, And I remember even the other interns in the class were like, how can he not get a job? He was one of the best interns in our class. And then it was just literally a 20-minute conversation I had with someone over the 10 weeks who I met on a different floor who did electronic trading. And he just remembered me, and he then mentioned to someone else, oh, actually, Shaz could be quite good at this because he's done computer science, he knows all about finance, and he's really interested in trading. So it was like the perfect job. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, from that, got an interview and then got a job, literally in the team that I wanted. So it worked out genuinely perfectly. But the crux of it was a random moment of seeing a poster and applying to a company I never heard of and had no idea about, and then actually getting a job in what worked out to be a much better area for me, based on a 20-minute random conversation that I had with someone. So there's always an element of luck, but along the way, you can't be scared of taking some risks, you know. And the risk for me was deciding not to go down technology and go into finance. But then, it all kind of changed after that as well, which I'm sure we're going to talk about.
So if you were to, it's an echo. So if you were to advise somebody if they wanted a career in investment banking, what would be your top tip?
I think definitely, I mean, look, at investment banks, there's so much competition, right? There's so many people going for it. It's a very prestigious job, you know, no doubt, and probably still is, you know, even post the financial crisis, you know, still now banking is probably one of the top paid jobs in the UK, and probably in the Western world, in all honesty. So it's highly lucrative as a career, but it's very hard to get into. You know, they target the top universities, you know, the cream of the crop type universities. So obviously, within reason, your goal is to get into those kind of universities, but you'll be amazed. Almost your effort needs to begin quite early. You know, from A levels onwards. So A levels really do count. You know, I was very lucky. You know, that my academic record was pretty strong all the way through. So just based on what they could see, they thought, okay, well, there was something here clearly. That's really important. I think people underestimate how important that is. But equally, you have to just put a lot of effort in. I still remember doing so many online application forms, learning how to do numerical tests, logical tests. You know, I think I remember just for the internship, there were 14 interviews or tests just for that one internship at the same bank. So you're doing that across different banks, etc. So it takes a lot of work. It's kind of funny. You can't let yourself get down if one particular bank doesn't work out. You know, I still remember to this day, one of the first banks I applied to was RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland, which, you know, now is a failed bank, right? And I remember I thought absolutely nailed the interview. I thought it was all good. And I remember even in the interview, the guy was like, "You're a really strong candidate." And then I didn't get an offer, and I was devastated. I was like, "What the hell? You know, this is going to be really difficult." But you know, alhamdulillah, that was the best thing ever. You know, for my career, if I ended up there, it probably wouldn't have been as good for me. So you know, you've got to kind of follow your path and just try your best.
Yeah. Well, that brings us nicely to the point that you then quit your job.
Yeah.
and then what happened?
So midlife crisis. No, to be honest, like I said, everything has its time, everything has its moment. You know, I did banking, I did trading for 9 years. You know, worked my way up. You know, when I left, I was a vice president, but I was actually, I think that year I was actually up for director. So it would have been the next kind of stage up. But, you know, for me, remember the financial crisis happened in 2008. I saw how banking as a model had just changed so much. You know, you had regulation, you had a lot of changes in the kind of trades we could and couldn't do anymore. Just the whole atmosphere had just become more and more, I guess, negative and I guess just not as fun in all honesty. So I began to lose interest in it, and probably even on a slightly deeper level. You know, I kind of thought, well, this as a career isn't really doing anything for me. You know, I didn't feel inspired every morning when I woke up. I didn't feel on a personal and a faith-based level that it was doing great things for me. So I kind of had a moment where I was kind of questioning myself of, you know, will I be proud of all this when I give all this up? And I thought, you know what, you know, for me, having those kind of thoughts in my head, but then also having the idea for a business, which, you know, ended up being muzmatch, in my head, was just too big to ignore. And I do remember, you know, there was a moment where, especially with muzmatch, I thought, it was in my head, I just thought, if I don't quit and do this, somebody else will, and I'll regret it. And I just still remember that being one of the biggest reasons why I decided to give it up. But it wasn't an easy decision. You know, the year I quit was the year, you know, I got, you know, in my whole career, I got paid the most. I was doing very well. I was up for promotion. So it's very, very hard to walk away from that, you know, to go from that to literally zero for the next 2 years. So it was a big risk, but, you know, in all honesty, I guess there was an element of planning. You know, when I started at Morgan Stanley, I remember just from speaking to so many people that, you know, people were there for 20, 30 years in that career, right? And I always said to myself, I don't want to be that kind of person, you know. And I told myself, by the time I'm 30, I have to quit and have to do something else. So I kind of held true to that, and literally was when I hit 30 was the year that I quit, and I thought, all right, let's start this new project, which was muzmatch. But again, you're going from all of that to literally working from your bedroom on a computer for, I don't know, 18 hours a day, something crazy. But that's
I'd read that you'd actually learned how to design and launch an app all by yourself. It was something you had no knowledge of. So how did you come to learn? I mean, what steps did you take of knowing where to go?
It was the biggest thing genuinely is just perseverance. I still remember, muzmatch is was and is the only app I've ever built. I'd never built an app before. I literally just sat there. I just remember sat there on my computer saying, all right, how do you build apps? And that was kind of my first question. And I built the Apple app first. And it's crazy that, it nearly broke me because the language back then for building Apple apps was this really old language called Objective-C, which if you ask any engineer, it's a horrible language to deal in. But I had to learn it, and I did learn it, and I built the app. And it's literally one-man army, building everything, customer service. I would then go to mosques and I go to socials and I do some marketing and spread the word. So you're literally almost doing everything. But that's what you have to do, right? To really get this going. So for me, it was definitely, like I said, perseverance. And discipline. I used to wake up at 6, 7 a.m. every day. I still remember I'd have pretty much one meal a day or something stupid just because, or maybe two. You're working so long, you don't really want to have a break in terms of going to lunch and all that kind of stuff. So you end up just working. It wasn't healthy, I won't deny, but I was finishing at 1, 2 a.m. every day. It's difficult, but that's, I really wanted us to be the first app out there. And I was I just know what I'm like, once I've got this idea, it's always itching at me until it's done. And I was very keen to get the app out there and just kind of see what it's about. So
what was your actual vision for muzmatch? Like what was the intention behind it?
It's really weird. So I think it's hard to say I had a vision in terms of this could really transform how Muslims meet and marry. And that's kind of still one of our missions. But if I had to ask myself what exactly that meant, or I guess in real life, I didn't really have an idea. It was so, it's hard to understand now, but back then, apps were nowhere near as prevalent and as kind of mainstream and part of our lives as they are now. And that's literally just 5 years ago. Times have moved so quickly on this front. So back then, apps were quite, it was a new market, it was a new world. And for me, I had no idea how big this could become. And the great thing is now we've got such a track record. We can see this path forward that, now, which is great. I'm more excited than ever because I see, now we have the ability to do all these things that we want to, which is amazing, right?
Well, you've got, I think you've been a bit modest there. You've got like 3.5 million people that actually use the,
Yeah, we do know.
How does it make you feel when you realize that something an idea that you had, which was obviously very small, you had no experience of designing apps, and it's grown to this scale? I mean, how does that feel?
It's genuinely, it's amazing. I think still to this day, I can't put a finger on how it feels. There's kind of weird little moments where which just cements it home of, okay, this is a big deal. And I remember, this is pre-COVID now, I just remember being on the train and I remember someone sat in front of me and I kind of just looked over and I could see they were sat in front of me, but they were on muzmatch at the time. And it's just a little moment like that where you're like, wow, like this person doesn't know me, doesn't know anything. And whatever we built, this random person is on our app. And I think that's a nice moment. And equally, sometimes random people in the street, you stop you saying, oh, aren't you that muzmatch guy? Oh, I met my wife on your app, which is, that's nice, Yeah,
because you've had about over 60,000 marriages as well as a result.
We're nearly at 80 now, which is crazy. Wow. So it's, it's grown a lot.
Yeah, amazing. Right, what we're going to just break for a short time, and then we're going to come back and hear more about muzmatch. Okay, everyone, so we'll be back shortly after the break.
Are you a first-time property buyer? Are you a homeowner looking to raise funds from your property? Are you looking for better mortgage deals? Look no further. Binaco Financial Services is the answer. From residential mortgage to commercial mortgage, Islamic mortgage, or limited company mortgage, we provide mortgage services that best suit your needs. Let us help you to find the right mortgage for you. Call us today on 0208-050-2478. For a better future awaits you. Binico Financial Services Limited is directly authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here with Shahzad Younas from muzmatch. Hey, Shahzad again.
Hey, how you doing?
I just want to pick up just before the break. We were talking. You mentioned about the advert because I definitely know the adverts, because even on my morning commute, I'd look up and there'll be something of muzmatch that would just make me laugh. And you've had some great advertising campaigns out there. And I do feel that they've been fundamental in breaking the ice, Muslims, and generally the idea of a dating app. I mean, what kind of headway do you think you've made to overcome some of the taboo around it?
Yeah, a really good question. And, it's still kind of nice that so many people remember our tube ads. We had it on the tube, we had it on buses, on literally everywhere. The ads were comedy gold. They were really, really strong. For us, the key, and even in all the other ads that we've done, sometimes we like to use an element of humor. We like to kind of really show off, I guess, what we're about. But equally, I think part of it, exactly as you said, is we're trying to change the attitudes and taboo around actually finding a partner, right?
Yeah.
Like finding someone. Almost finding someone as a Muslim, we almost find it a cringe, a really awkward, a really difficult kind of situation to be in. But for us, I think what we, I guess, try and do is literally just help people and make it a positive experience. It shouldn't be negative in terms of finding your life partner. It should be something that's positive. It's an exciting part of your life journey. But equally, what we're trying to do is bring modern technology into it, but also do it in a way that respects your faith, right? We do it in a way that's respectful to our culture, our traditions, etc. And that's difficult, especially when you've got Muslims as diverse as Muslims. We have we're a global app. We've got users absolutely everywhere. In the UK, US, abroad, etc. So we really are global in a big way. So trying to create one product that works for everyone, that is almost respectful of everyone's way of doing things as well, isn't easy. But I think alhamdulillah, we've managed to do a good job. And I think that one kind of really key factor for us in terms of how we look at all this is just having a really high bar for what we do. The team our team are genuinely super amazing. The stuff that we are able to create and the care that the whole team puts into it, it really does show in the product, I think. If almost everything that you see in the product, all the ideas, or even down to the wording of X, Y, Z and the way this little feature works, people are amazed at just how much thought has gone into it. From everyone, from the design side to the engineers, the mobile engineers, to how we market it. Absolutely everyone's involved. Some of the examples of that, I guess, if you look at when lockdown started, right? I still remember, that day, when Boris told everyone to work from home, and, the same with us, our whole team is still working remotely and everyone's working from home. But for us, I remember that day we were like, all right, we need to help people still be able to find their partner, and we as a team literally put our heads together and built and released voice and video calling within about 1.5 months, and it was a real effort from the whole team. But thankfully it paid off, literally since May, we've done over 20 years worth of calls on muzmatch since May, which blows our mind. So, it's amazing seeing that being done. And I think more so, which was really nice, especially for women using the platform, I think they've really appreciated a lot of features, around calling, around being able to share things on there, because it's all secure, right? You're not having to give out your phone number. You're not having to give out your personal information. So you're able to stay quite private and almost control what you're willing to share with other people until you're ready to. And I think that's the key with the way we've designed the whole product.
And I think what makes your app probably unique is the fact that there is a scope on there for other members of the family, like parents, to get involved. It seems like it's a family thing rather than just one individual where nobody, there is a platform there, because I've seen some of your videos, which are funny, but actually fundamentally, there's no secrecy around it.
No, exactly.
It seems like quite a respectful platform for parents to engage.
No, exactly that. What we're trying to do is exactly that, where, and even, we constantly publish blogs, videos, even actual muzmatch users giving advice to other muzmatch users about how to go about your search. things to be wary of, let's say the red flags from people as well, because it's equally an education experience of getting to know people, etc. But definitely for us, we've always seen muzmatch should be a place that, exactly that, you're perfectly fine to tell your family about. I'm on muzmatch. These are the people I'm meeting, or these are the people I'm talking to, etc. There shouldn't be. We have this culture and this taboo and this element of shame around, finding a partner in a halal way, and it shouldn't be like that. The whole goal is, we should be making what's halal easy for people, right? We should be making it easy for young people to find a partner, because it's very difficult. We have a lot of young Muslims who come to us, and and even parents now saying, we're trying to find someone for our sons and daughters, or like I said, they're young people who are like, I need to find someone to get married because either my family are giving me pressure about it, or I actually want to find someone. And people are coming to us for advice of, like, what can I do? How does all this work? So for some people, this is a whole new kind of arena in terms of how to use apps, how to find a partner. But I think overall, the overwhelming thing, and which is really good to see, is just the sheer success that people have had. Right now, which it blows our mind. 300 people a day, every day, which is crazy. Leave muzmatch and tell us that they found their partner on there and don't come back, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. So that's kind of really good to see, and it proves, it definitely works. I think obviously with all these things, this is something new. Apps and people's ability to talk and meet. It's completely new for the Muslim market, right? And we've definitely pioneered this whole way. But there's two ways you can look at it. You can either be shy away from it and not kind of engage, or you realize, actually, no doubt, especially for the Muslim market, more and more of us are going to find our partners online. That's here to stay. I think there's no question there. So it's on us to try and navigate it, and us as muzmatch to create a product that actually services that need in a way, like I said, that's respectful.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going back on what you were talking about earlier, the team, because I think everything that you've been talking about is made possible by the people behind the scenes. And I know when you first started, it was you and another person. Was it a friend? But very quickly you've grown it. And I know even from my contacts with contacting your team to get you to come on the show and stuff. I think it says a lot about an organization, just the type of people that are behind the scenes. So what do you do to get such great people behind? I mean, that does establish the culture of the organization. And you've already told me that it's doubled in the size that we're looking at right now. So tell us a bit more about how do you go around, how do you take steps for anyone that's just starting out in their business, it's growing, how do you look for the right people?
Yeah, I mean, you ask anyone who runs any business, hiring is probably one of the most time consuming, exhausting, but probably satisfying thing when you get it right. And it's a journey, with every hire that you bring onto your company, it's an education for you and for them, right? You figure out, kind of what works, what doesn't, what works in your company, what doesn't. You even, which is really nice, you even kind of create new ways for your company or your teams to operate. The great thing is you have outsiders coming in who say, oh, this thing, whatever I did, works really well at my old company. Maybe you can bring that here. And if it makes sense, we bring that here. So it's kind of nice seeing teams almost create their own processes, their own ways of working and operating. I'm a kind of a big believer in trying to keep things as flat as possible. We don't like politics. We don't want all these kind of weird team setups. Everyone's super approachable and super friendly, which is kind of the vibe that we want. The work ethic of the team and just the caliber of the team is really high. And, it's a lot of effort has been, invested in terms of getting there. The whole process of finding candidates, interviewing them, make sure there's a good fit. It takes a lot of time, but when you get it right, it benefits, the individual teams and the company. It just makes it a nice place to work. For me, and genuinely seeing, they always say try and hire people better than you, and I think that's definitely true. The people in the team who are so skilled in their particular areas and what they bring to muzmatch, to the app, to the platform is amazing, right? We could no way, we couldn't remotely get to where we've got to without you. Not at all. There's a limit to what you can do and how far you can take it.
So at what point did you know that? Because obviously sometimes it's hard to let go of stuff that you've been doing for a while by yourself and trusting other people. So at what point did you realize that, okay, time to start growing?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, in all honesty, we were quite late to actually hiring. We had a few hires. We were very small till very late. I think we were like, I'm going to try and remember, but I think we were about 12 people just over a year ago, and probably 6 people a year before that. And we're 6 years old as a company. So we were quite late in terms of hiring to that scale and building out the teams the way we have. So we've done a lot, and that doesn't come easy, right? Like I said, with every hire, it's an education. Some hires work, fantastic. Some hires don't. And that should be a lesson of either where did we go wrong as a company in terms of either how we onboarded them or how we managed to make them fit into their team and kind of be in a good place. Or equally, maybe we just got it totally wrong in terms of, it was the wrong kind of hire for the company. We kind of assessed them wrong or whatever you want to call it. So I think for us, definitely, I guess the big thing, and like you said, the tricky balance is giving people hopefully room and flexibility to do things their way. But equally, you do need some top level of organization. I think the key is you don't want to be micromanaging. You want to let people just breathe and do their best work. And part of that is made easier when you have good people, right? That's the short answer. Hire good, smart people. You have to worry about that a lot less.
So if somebody right now was thinking about launching an app, what would be your key tips for them?
I think probably the biggest, and people I remember, so many people, and I make myself very available, especially the Muslim community, but almost anyone who wants advice or help in either their own business or an app or whatever. I'm just happy to help because, I'm a big believer that what goes around comes around type of thing. And one of the biggest things that I always get asked by people, and especially people who have an idea or and are thinking of starting an app business or whatever, want to take this forward. The first thing they go to is, how do I raise money and can you connect me with some investors? And I'm like, calm down, right? You got to go way back to the start of, is your idea actually any good? And so many people miss out on genuine research of what the hell it is that they want to do. So many people they don't ask the tough questions from other people, or they're not willing to kind of almost see the facts in their face. I lose track of the number of people who come to me saying, I've got this idea, here are my designs, and there's no one in the world doing this, and I'm the first one. And then it takes quite a quick Google to find actually there are like 5 other apps or whatever out there, which is an education for them. So I think the first thing I would say is you've got to do your research. Definitely, I would also say, it depends. Everyone's got a different level of capability, but definitely, if you can do it with someone, it's a lot easier because it's hard work doing it on your own, and it's exhausting. And sometimes it always helps having someone else just to push you along, and you both kind of keep each other going, because it's not easy at all. So definitely try and get someone else who hopefully skill-wise actually complements what you bring to the table. Maybe you're technical and they're not, or vice versa. So having a good mix there is important. But then, like I always say, research, listen to your users, and just try and really make something that delights them. If you get that, and you have users who actually want to use your product, and the key is they come back to it, then you're in a good place.
Great, lovely. So where next for muzmatch?
It's funny because I was once asked by a journalist what's next for muzmatch, and jokingly I just said world domination, and then the headline was muzmatch seeks world domination. I was like, all right, calm down. But the short answer is almost that. For us, we're very global. The apps, we're live in, we've got people in every country around the world. The app's live in 14 languages, which is crazy. It's available in Bengali, in Arabic, in Urdu, in Farsi, and French, German, everything, right? So it's very localized. Like I said, we've had weddings absolutely everywhere. For us, it's focusing on the growth, making sure that our app is the best app out there. And for sure, right now, at least, we are, we're the most feature-rich app. Like I said, the key, and this will always be true with muzmatch, you'll always be able to get on muzmatch, create a profile, talk to someone, get married, and never pay muzmatch a penny. Super important, So we always want to maintain that. And like I said, we've got calling, you can do all that for free. It really is a very high quality product because we know our users are on, high quality apps. We want to make sure that for us as a Muslim offering, we're up there as well.
Amazing. Oh, well, thank you so much, Shahzad, for coming on the show and talking to us and sharing all your tips and all your wisdom. This is the end of the show for this week anyway. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in. And thank you to TV3 Bangla for having us yet again for another show. And I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
I help my plants to grow. My Performance demands competence. Photography is my passion. Accountancy is my profession. We, Mahbub & Co., a team of dedicated professionals.
Mahbub & Co. Accountants.